Hey, it's Austin Cooper with Velo Baseball, and this is the Road to 95. So I'm doing the Road to 95 for myself. I want to prove to myself that I can do it. I believe I can truly do it if I train and work hard enough at it. And towards the end of my baseball career, when I was trying to make it in professional baseball, I was trying to prove it to coaches, trying to prove it to other guys that I played baseball with, maybe guys that I played with in the past. And that's kind of when I hated baseball the most. I obviously didn't get any of that validation from coaches and kind of ended up getting into the instruction side of things. And so it's kind of freeing for me to be able to set a goal that I can go and achieve. And really all I'm doing it for is just to prove to myself that, I can reach that milestone. And the other reason that I'm going through this process is continued education. So in my profession, it's important to always continue learning. And I feel like going through this process again to try and make myself as good of a thrower as I possibly can is going to help me a ton when it comes to training athletes and programming for athletes. But on top of that, just having a different perspective and point of view on throwing now that I'm out of the game, playing wise, I think is going to be super beneficial to me. I think it's going to help open up my mind a lot to learning, not just how my body moves, but also learning the whole process for all the guys that I work with. So this is just day one of the process. For this first month, really my goal is just to kind of get back into a routine lifting wise. To throw with a purpose for a month. I throw every single day with my lessons, but having like an actual process to get loose, trying to build up arm strength, kind of increase my load over the course of a month to where I won't hurt myself on that first day of testing. And that's kind of what this first month is about. It's kind of a shorter process. I don't have a ton of time being a dad and doing this as a profession every day. So my warm-ups and recoveries are going to look a little bit shorter, and I'm going to spend a lot of the time focusing on actually my throwing process and increasing that load over time. So for this first month, just getting back into it is really kind of the goal. And I'm just going to show you guys the process of what day one looks like. So I already did about 5 to 10 minutes of getting my body hot, but I'm just going to show you guys what I do, just a enjoyable process for me to get my body loose before I get into actually doing my band work and plyos. So I'm just going to show you guys a few reps of what I was doing to get loose. Just taking long hops, moving around, getting short hops. But doing that for about 5 to 10 minutes is what I do, just to get loose with the shorter amount of time that I have to go through this process. So since I'm just trying to get my arm back in shape, just going to get my body hot, and then most important is get my upper body loose so I can go through the process of plyo work. And only going to do about 30 to 35 throws at the baseball today. None of them at max effort, just kind of getting back into it. Ya, no, just a little bit. So with my band process, I like to try and hit kind of everything in the upper body. So I like to start with the back and the chest, get the big muscles warmed up, and then obviously go through some rotator cuff work and then just biceps and triceps, but trying to make sure all the muscles in the upper half are nice and warmed up. Then onto the shoulder tube. then last thing, just use the PVC to kind of get like the rest of the stretching done in my upper half. PVC is just a good tool to use as leverage. Get yourself into like deeper ranges of motion and a deeper stretch. Already sweating. Out of shape. So when I tried to do this last year, well, there's two reasons I stopped doing this last year. First one is I got hurt right away. Kind of jumped into it too quick. Day one last year was testing day, and I can't remember. I think I hit like 85 or 86 with no preparation like this. So, but then obviously hurt myself. Couldn't keep doing it. So I'm trying to be smarter this time and go through at least like a month-long process of making sure I get back into some sort of routine. Not just throwing, but also lifting. Also had a kid in 2024, and learning to the process or the change in life of, being a father, and obviously having that take up a good amount of my time throughout the day before I head here. So I'm kind of starting to do a better job of finding that work-life balance. And so I feel like it's a good time for me to get into this. And honestly, most important reason, honestly, is not even just for me, but like, I don't want my son to be able to say that his dad throws slow. So that's really the biggest thing. All right. All right. So next is plyo work. It's not necessarily like an instructional video, so I'm not going to go in depth about like, why I'm exactly doing everything I'm doing, or like the process on how to perfectly do it. I'm just going to let you guys watch like my process of just making sure I'm touching, as I try and get back into this, touching every aspect of throwing that I feel like is going to be important for me to get back into it. So. I wasn't even counting. I feel like that was enough though. Get loose. Alright. I'm going to go into pivot picks. Just do a little bit of force separation. So for reference, if you guys are guys that use driveline balls, this would be like the blue driveline. This would be somewhere close to like the green. So just for reference. A few more of these. Now a few roll-ins. Not force separation here, but kind of trying to work on that myself. I will say, one thing I hope we see in 2025 is people trying to stop catching their plyo balls. If you're worried about the plyo ball coming back off the wall, it's going to greatly affect your rep. So obviously protect yourself and the sensitive parts if you need to. But other than that, go through your rep without a worry of where that plyo ball is coming. All right. Last one I'm going to do is a darvish. Just trying to give myself a more similar feel to like my pitching delivery. just try and be really smooth and athletic. So for catch play, just doing 30 to 35 catch play throws today. So it's gonna be kind of like a hybrid day. Maybe working up to an effort level that's slightly above what I will do with my, in catch play with my high school guys. So I think a good goal for myself is 90 miles an hour by my birthday, which is in early June. So I think if I hit that, I would be probably in a good position, like lifting wise, training wise, and getting more explosive. I feel like that's kind of probably the growth I'd want to see. Is I feel like if I step on the mountain right now, I'd probably be, I don't know, anywhere between 84, 85, 86. So I think 5 miles an hour getting back into training by early June is probably a good goal for myself. Target. Looks like about 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. About halfway. No, about a third of the way, my bad. Terrible math. Probably not creating a good habit right now. Just pelting my catch partner's knees and ankles, throwing at the target. But I'd rather do this than throw into a net with a blind target off in the distance. Just get back to these last 10, 15. Last one. Go down slope on this one. Might have to do that moving forward. That feels way better than having that throwing behind the mountain, having that be stopping me. So normally I'd go into recovery work right now, right after throwing, but I'm about to start my day of lessons, and that's another thing that I'm going to have to try and navigate is with how much I throw a baseball. Between all my lessons in a day, probably 500 plus times throwing a baseball back to somebody. I'm going to have to try and navigate that and that workload that's going to put on my arm. Connor suggested a great idea of just catching all my lessons during catch play and just tossing the baseball to the side if they have the basket next to them, kind of like I was just doing into the target. So I'm going to have to find a way to either do that for part of the day or all the day, and not put such a huge workload on my arm. But so I'm gonna do my recovery work this evening after my lessons are over. So I just finished up my day instructing, and now I'm gonna go through my recovery work since I had to throw back to some of my lessons today. So I'm just gonna start with walking lunges. I'm gonna do them. Some stability work for my shoulder. So I'm gonna go waiter walks while I'm going through a walking lunge. Now I'm going to go bat wing carry, same thing. Next, if you have a towel, it's best to use a towel, but I just like to use some of these wrist weights. Just like to do some side lying shoulder ERs. Just use the wrist weight like something I feel like my elbow has to pin down. If you have a really light dumbbell, then do it with that. But since I just have plyos, I'm just going to give myself a small little workout with the plyo. Next, I'm going to use both wrist weights. Do some bent over scarecrows. I like these a lot because of the feeling I get. I call them your back straps, but just muscles lining like both sides of the spine. So in bent over scarecrows, like if you're going to try and attempt to do these with wrist weights at home, biggest thing is don't go upright. It's really easy to not have to use your back muscles or not engage your back muscles if we're going straight up with our arms. Then you can kind of just let your shoulders take over for a pushing movement. So really feel like your arms are kind of working out away from you and that the wrist weights are getting pulled down by gravity. That's kind of the goal on these. I'm just going to do a few of them though. I don't want to put too big of a workload on my arm early. Since I'm not doing these consistently, I'm just going to try and like work my way up. So I'm only going to do about probably 8 reps. Like I said, start bent over, pulling the weight up, turn it into a scarecrow, extending, and then just doing the reverse on the way back. Last one. Okay. Last movement. Again, these are really short or abbreviated warm-ups and recovery, just for time purposes. I'm going to do some kettlebell pull-throughs. I have a push-up plank position. Only going to do about 6 on each arm. Trying to keep my trunk and my hips as controlled as possible. Okay. So on those, or really everything for recovery, just trying to make sure basically just trying to promote blood flow through the arm. Sorry, I'm gassed. Been out of the game for too long, but trying to promote blood flow to the arms. Trying to just put them in that recovery mode before I head home. So that's it for day one. We're gonna have like weekly progress videos go out. This first month is gonna be more of just me trying to get back in shape, build up my throwing load. After that first month, when we test in the end of February, it's gonna be more for you guys like me breaking down my video and seeing where my inefficiencies are and how I'm gonna attack it. So it's gonna be a lot more like learning material. But weekly we'll have those videos up for you guys. Hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you like it, please give us a like, subscribe, notifications on, and be ready to go next week when the next video comes out.